Hello and welcome to another edition of eLumen. What am I doing? The following video is designed for department chairs, otherwise known as department coordinators. And this video will show you how to build an assessment within the system. It's important for department chairs to understand how to build an assessment so that these assessments can then be planned for a specific term, for a specific course. When faculty come in, the assessment is available to them and they can go ahead and enter their assessment data either on a student by student basis or collectively. And I'll show you what that all means in just a moment. I'm going to be working within the test site, but many of you won't have access to that, and you'll need to log into the production site in order to get the work done that needs to be done related to outcomes assessment. Within the system, I need to make sure that I have the department coordinator role selected and the entity for which I want to build assessments selected in this drop down here. I'm going to work within the music department. And so how do I begin to build an assessment? From strategic planning, I could click on assessments and that will take me to my assessment library for music. Or I could click on SLOs and assessments and get to the same thing. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to select SLOs and assessments and then the sub-tab assessments. And you'll see now I'm looking at my assessment library, which for the time being is empty. But you'll see as we build assessments out, you begin to build your assessment library. So first thing I'm going to do is click Add Assessment. And I'm going to complete this form. And at the end of this form, we'll have built our assessment rubric template, and this will be what we deploy to each of the courses or specific sections that we want to use this particular assessment. So at the very top, the first option you have is to select an assessment type. This is super important, and it really is two different approaches ultimately to reporting outcomes assessment. If you select individual student scorecard in rubric, that means you will be reporting and requesting of the faculty within your department to report on a student by student basis, meaning student 1 met or did not meet the SLO, student 2 met or did not meet the SLO, etc. On the other side of that is the collective student score entry. So what does this mean? This means you're reporting outcomes assessment performance collectively. X number of students were assessed, and of those, Y number of students met or achieved the student learning outcome. So it is a bit different. I know that historically we've always used the collective student score. But if we want to be able to disaggregate student learning outcome assessment results by student groups or demographic composition, etc., then the individual student scorecard and rubric should be the one that you use. However, as we're transitioning to this new tool, collective student score entry is a bit easier and what we're used to. But both are available within the system. For this video, I'm going to show you how to complete the collective student score entry assessment building process. So once I have that selected, I'm going to give the assessment a name, and I'm just going to call this test assessment. And every item here that has an asterisk means that it is required in order to move forward. So to save some time, I'm just going to copy this text and paste it here in the description. However, if you want to provide more detailed description, please feel free to do so. And then I also need to identify the assessment type. Is it a satisfaction survey, a course ending review of overall student achievement, early formative assessment, external assessment, major mid-course assessment, student self-assessment? We can build out this list to include more options. If you don't see one that suits your needs, please let me know by sending me an email at volker_aaron@sccollege.edu, and I'd be happy to add your requested assessment type to the list provided here. So for this example, we're going to say that the assessment is done at the end of the term using a course ending review of overall student achievement. So what is this next box down here? This box allows you to report the assessment findings, but the findings won't be included in the overall analysis of outcomes performance within eLumen. So it's really, do you want the data to be included or excluded? And so leaving it unchecked means it will be included, and we're going to leave that unchecked. There are some additional options here to allow faculty annotations of the assessment results, add a reflections template. If there are specific questions that you would like your faculty to respond to as they're reporting their assessment findings, you can add those questions under a reflections template. And that can also be done up here by clicking this button as well. We're going to move forward without a reflections template, but please know that you can always add those to your assessments by coming in and editing this assessment tool. And then down below, you need to define the assessment outcome type. So what is the assessment scale that you're going to be using? Right now we have the following available 3 options. We have the rating scale, which is a 4-point scale, 1 through 4, which includes NA options. We have a rating scale of 2-point value, one value being met and the other value being not met with no NA. And then also a met, not met rating scale, which includes NA. So what does this mean with or without NA? So this means NA are those students that were not assessed at all. So using the option with NA, it means either the student, if the student was not assessed, they would get a check mark of NA. And so the assessment results will only include those students that participated in the assessment and for which you actually have a score, whether they met the SLO or did not meet the SLO. The option for no NA means that any student that did not meet the SLO, they are counted, even those that didn't participate in the assessment. And so this could potentially reduce the student performance ratio when comparing those that met and did not meet the assessment, making the assumption that those students that didn't participate in the assessment also did not meet the SLO criteria. So for this example, I am going to select rating scale met, not met with NA. The default here is outcomes oriented. And now I need to let the system know how many different SLOs are going to be evaluated using this assessment tool. I am going to select 2, and you'll see what this looks like. Once I click the Generate Rubric Template button just below and out of screen here, see my cursor here. If you go straight down, you'll see Generate Rubric Template button. When I click that button, now I can see the SLO rubric Meets expectations is given a score of 2, and this indicates that expectations have been met. Does not meet expectations is given a score of 1, and so the expectations have not been met in those instances. So now what I need to do is link my SLOs. So I paused the video just for a moment to expand the video capture screen so you can see the buttons down here. Once I connect this assessment with specific SLOs, then I'll be able to either save or save and plan this assessment. So when I click Link SLO, it's now going to provide this pop-up window which gives me access to all of the courses and all of the SLOs within the music department. I'm going to build the assessment for Music 101, Music Appreciation. When I do that, it gives me all of the SLOs which are current for this particular course, and I'm going to select the first SLO. And now you can see the first SLO language is listed here in the first row of this table. I'm going to link a second SLO for Music 101. I'm going to select the one that's available. And now I've got both SLOs within my rubric here. If I made a mistake, if I only wanted to include SLO2 rather than SLO1 and SLO2, I could always click this red X here and remove that SLO. If I did that in error and I wanted to add it back, I can always select Add Row here. And so now I'm given the ability to re-add SLO1. Unfortunately, they will be out of order. So what I'm going to do here is link the SLO1, remove SLO2, add back SLO2 so that they appear in the correct order. SLO1 up top, SLO2 second. And now I'm going to select Save. If I pick Save and Plan, this will then take me to the planning page where I can then schedule this assessment for past terms, this term, or future terms. And we'll get more into the planning of the assessments in a separate video. So for right now, I'm going to click Save. And now you can see I have this test assessment here available to then make edits to or to plan. If I check the box here, you can see all of these additional options related to this assessment. I can remove it, I can deactivate it, I can show the history, I can go ahead and plan this one, or if I like the way that this is formatted, I can select Clone and it will provide a copy of this assessment. And if I want this one to be the recommended assessment for future assessment building, I can set this one as the recommended assessment. If you have any questions related to this video, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm here to assist you. My recommendation is to build all of your assessments first before you start planning them to all of your courses and sections within your department.